And that's him. And then, but the woman was already here. So, okay, so let's calm everybody down. Because, you know, there's a lot has changed politically right now. Women are getting a lot of attention and well-deserved attention about their role in the world and humanity. And, but she is regarded as the morning star, and she is the daughter of a firekeeper. And the firekeeper was a very significant role in this whole beginning of humans. The firekeeper was in charge of this fire, and he was giving this teachings to the first men about how to look after a fire, a sacred fire. So a lot of people, you know, maybe wonder about what a sacred fire is. You know, we have these fires that we do at, you know, at the Native Center, and sometimes people do it in their, where they have a lodge, there's a sacred fire. But that sacred fire, it represents this right here. So this is our sacred fire each one of us have, and we're all connected that way. So that's the thing. This is my elders talking about this, but they said this sacred fire, you know, produces a certain kind of heat that keeps our bodies warm and keeps us moving. But this fire and this heat that comes off of this is the same fire and heat that comes off the sun. So we're connected to the sun that way. And that's really interesting stuff. I can't get into that here because we're talking about the mural today, but it's very interesting connections that, you know, when we talk about Indigenous people and our ways that we feel and connect to the world, these are physical and they're seen. They're not imagination and they're not mythology. They're actually living, operating parts that connect us to the world and the universe. So, so it's her father that gives this first man the teachings about that sacred fire, and that she becomes this kind of force of life in the world. So, you know, women have a very important role here, and that's why she's on this mural. So these two are connecting, and they're connecting to this power symbol in the center. And of course we have the turtle with the buffalo in the back, and representing another really important nation that used to exist here in North America, and there was like 60 million of these buffalo. So the Indigenous people were really connected to these animals, and these animals are in our ceremonies as well. But this symbol here is talking about these two worlds, and so these two worlds coexist. So we have a physical world and we have a spirit world, and on our journey in life is to walk between those two worlds. So that's what this little mark is here, is that us walking through this lifetime between these two worlds. And so you know, I've done lots of research and I've had lots of good experience in ceremonies and rituals, and my research has led me to take a look at birch bark scroll stories and you know, they're maps, you know, describing these two worlds. And I realized that they're all connected. This is not one separate, these aren't separate compartments of our culture. These are all things that have a connection. And you know, that's why when we do our rituals and that, we usually form a circle, because that circle is an energy force in the circle. When we all get together and we connect in the circle, it's connecting us all together, and we are then all helping each other. Because you know, there's a force that comes through those circles that's why if you look at all of our rituals and ceremonies, they're all in circles, and they all have trees in them. You know, like our sweat lodge, Sundance, the Vision Quest, they all have trees, and the trees are a very important force in the world. And so our ancestors were observing this activity as they lived on the land, and they incorporated those visions of what they saw on the land into our rituals. So this is about connecting to those two worlds, and that heart thinking, you know, that sacred fire. If we operate from this, the world's going to be okay. But we've been away from this for a long time because, you know, we've had this Western idealism spanned across our land for 500 years. So we're just getting back in touch with that hard thinking again now. And it's important that we start talking about it too. So, you know, my work is about getting to a place where we can start talking about those things and changing that unfamiliar territory into a familiar one where we can start practicing our culture again. So miigwech, everyone.
Miigwech.